Have you ever opened your email to find a brand new buyer lead only to find out they actually just wanted to rent? It feels like you got a spoonful of mayo when you thought it was ice cream. I'm Levi Jones, founder and head coach of Guerrilla Realty. And in this video, I'm going to help you fix the renter problem. And no, I don't mean spending a year helping a renter fix their credit and be ready to buy eventually. I mean actually fixing the renter problem so you can avoid becoming a leasing agent and instead focus on connecting with more buyers and sellers. It doesn't mean generating new or better leads, but it will mean facing your follow-up abilities. And I don't have anything to sell you here, just a real and free solution to a problem agents are facing every single day. By the way, I do a full 1 hour training on this topic of raw lead conversion. I'll include all our best practices, scripts, and everything you need to become a follow-up master. All you have to do is like this video, share it with another agent who needs help converting leads, and then comment shared below. I'll send you a private link to the full resource. Here's what I'll cover in this video. First, I'm going to help you understand the buying cycle. Now, when I explain the real estate buying cycle, it will be the ultimate duh moment. But it's also the part many agents seem to think doesn't really apply to our industry. Then I'll show you why renters aren't your enemy. Now, don't get me wrong, it's totally normal to get frustrated when you think you're going to talk to a buyer and instead you see your potential commission disappear before your eyes when the lead says they're only interested in renting and not buying. But I'm going to help you flip that around. And then finally, I'm going to help you identify the contact rate problem. Now, once I understood the numbers game, it completely changed my outlook on leads. The average agent only closes about 4% of their leads, and it doesn't cost me anything to get too many leads or leads I don't want. Now, believe it or not, solving the numbers game is the key to solving the renter problem. I think we all understand the buying cycle at some sort of deep level because we've all bought something, and this applies across all industries. The mistake a lot of agents make is they don't recognize this in their own industry when it comes to real estate customers, but it's the same. Now, it's different in terms of the timeline. If I'm going through the buying cycle and I'm buying a small purchase, a candy bar at the corner store, I might go through all three phases of the buying cycle in about half a second. When I'm buying something larger, like a car or a home, it may take days, weeks, sometimes even months to complete all three phases of the buying cycle. So I want you to think about, just to help illustrate this, I want you to think about the last time that you purchased something big, something that required a salesperson. So visualize walking into a furniture store to buy a couch. Okay. You walk in there, you're ready to buy a couch. It's just a matter of finding what you're looking for, whatever you visualized in your head. Maybe you've even done some research online prior to it. The salesman approaches you. Sir or ma'am, can I help you with anything? And what do you say? We all say it. In fact, I'm going to pause for a second while you say it out loud. Maybe even type it in the comments. No thanks, I'm just looking. We throw our hand up. No thanks, I'm just looking. Now, what's funny about that is we didn't come to this store to look. We came to buy, right? But we tell them that because we want to be in control. As consumers, we want to be in control of this process. We don't want to get sold anything. After that, eventually, if they give me some time and I start looking around the store and I find the thing I'm looking for, but maybe it's not in the color or the fabric that I want, well, now I'm going to ask that salesperson and now I'm going to connect with them. Now, the truth is, just by connecting with me first, they probably have my business already. Even though I blew them off and I said, no, thanks, I'm just looking. By being first, when I look up, I'm probably going to look for that person who greeted me initially. Again, we all do it. It's a reciprocation thing. After the initial connection, I'm going to begin honing in my search. And then finally, I'm going to get that salesperson to actually help me purchase the thing. And that means in a furniture store, I'm going to go to, the back and I'm going to order it. We're going to get a delivery date, the whole deal, right? So the buying cycle when it comes to real estate is going to look very similar. First, we start out in information gathering. I say we, I mean, as consumers, you would start out in the information gathering phase. Now, typically their attitude when it comes to real estate agents here is they don't think they need one. They don't really want to talk to one because they're online gathering information. They don't need us. That's why they love Zillow so much, right? And they're going to give you the same no thanks, I'm just looking attitude when or if you can try to connect with them. Now, that doesn't mean that you can't break through, but it is going to require that you bring value to the table. You can't just start peppering them with questions or assuming, hey, they need me. And then, of course, what a lot of agents do is if they ever get the sort of the hand or the no thanks, I'm just looking, they go, oh, that's just a terrible lead. No, it's not a terrible lead. They're just earlier in the buying cycle. Okay. The reason why a lot of agents think it's a terrible lead is because historically, they're used to connecting with people in phase 2 of the buying cycle, the home search phase. If you think of all the traditional ways that agents have gotten real estate leads, whether it's open houses, duty desk times, sphere of influence marketing, heck, even FISBO calling, those are all geared towards capturing and connecting with a phase 2 customer. Now, the difference is that in phase 2, a vast majority of real estate consumers have to use a real estate agent. We hold the key to the kingdom, so to speak. We're the MLS card holders. We, are going to be able to list their home for sale if they're a seller. And so it typically requires a real estate agent. And that's why real estate agents can be much more aggressive at this point in the buying cycle with those leads. The problem is if you take a phase 2 approach and you try to apply it to a phase 1 customer who doesn't think they need an agent, doesn't really want to talk to an agent, you can imagine it doesn't go anywhere. It doesn't go anywhere good anyways. Now, the final phase of the buying cycle is the escrow phase. This is contract negotiations, closings, inspections, all that kind of stuff that happens. You guys know the drill. And if you're watching this video and you're thinking, oh, I have a renter problem or I have a trouble connecting with customers, it's likely that you don't have trouble connecting with customers in phase 2 or phase 3. You're probably having a phase 1 connection issue. And so again, the way that you connect with the phase 1 customer is first, you have to recognize that when you get the no thanks, I'm just looking. And by the way, this is a data point in the renter problem. A lot of even actual buyers will say, I'm a renter. I'm just renting. I'm looking for a renter. Or maybe they're on the fence and they haven't decided whether they're going to rent or buy. Oh, I'm just renting, because they know real estate agents will avoid them like the plague at that point. It is their way of saying, no thanks, I'm just looking, taking back control of the buying process and saying, I'm not going to get sold here. Okay. So the first thing that we have to do is we have to provide value. The way that we do that is we offer 2 bribes. The first bribe is we offer to set them up for the automated home search through our MLS. Again, I know that's not a big deal. You're probably thinking I do that all the time, but we do that without expecting a signed buyer agency agreement, without peppering them with tons of questions. We just offer that as a first connection point. And then the second thing that we offer to do is a free home valuation for those buyers who also have a home to sell. If you can connect with them at that level, you are going to begin to see that you can connect with more buyers and sellers among the leads that you have. Again, this is just the first part of solving the renter problem. I want to reframe the idea of renters to you a little bit. Now, I'm not a leasing agent and I don't intend on becoming one. It's just not a strategy that makes financial sense in my market. But there are a few reasons why you shouldn't treat renters like an afterthought. Instead, we want to provide value, connect them to resources that can help them, even if you're not it, and then we move on. So first, renters are tomorrow's buyers. Most people don't rent forever. By building trust and relationships early, you position yourself as their go-to agent when they are ready to purchase. Now, if you ignore renters or blow them off, you're essentially ignoring a pipeline of future business. Second, renters provide referrals. Even if a renter isn't buying right now, they have friends, families, coworkers who might be in the market. And a renter who feels respected and well served can easily become a referral source, multiplying your opportunities later. Third, renters strengthen the market knowledge that you have. Working with renters keeps you sharp on rental inventory, neighborhoods, pricing, tenant trends. This knowledge benefits your buyer and investor clients too, since many buyers start out by asking about rental demand in an area. Fourth, Renters open the door to investors. Now, every renter represents demand for rental housing. By staying in touch with rental trends, you can connect with investor clients looking to purchase income properties. And renters are essentially the customers your investor clients want to serve. That's a valuable link for you as a real estate agent. The final piece, and you should really think about this, is if you're doing social media advertising, renters are actually helping drive engagement. When they engage with your post, even though they're not the leads that you want, they are helping drive the algorithm so that every time they engage with your post, it boosts your ad, your post, your marketplace ad, etc., in the algorithm, which is going to drive ultimately more traffic, more buyers, more leads. So if you think about them that way, it becomes less of a frustrating thing and more, hey, you're helping me, I'm going to help you. Here's the thing. The breakdown of renters versus buyers that you generate from a random ad or even purchasing leads is probably an accurate reflection of your marketplace right now. Usually that means more renters than buyers. And then this is compounded by the fact that renters aren't afraid of realtors because realtors largely ignore them. So they're happy to communicate with you. Now, this could give you the impression that you're generating 100% renters, when in reality, it probably matches the background rate in your market. So let's do some math on that. Let's say that you generated 24 buyer leads. Now, among those buyer leads, there's probably some renters, usually 3 to 4 at minimum, maybe more depending on your market. Of those buyer leads, statistically, there's 37% of them have a local home to sell as well. Again, when you take out first-time home buyers, second home market, investors, etc., there's typically, and then you take out the people that are relocating. So local homes to sell, among those buyer leads, you have 9 potential listings. Now, you're going to close them all? Probably not. In fact, I chose 24 in particular because 24 happens to be the average number of leads it takes your average agent to be able to generate a closing. But again, this is a numbers game. Now, here's the problem that a lot of agents see is if their contact strategy stinks, and by the way, it probably doesn't feel like it stinks. What most agents do in an effort to be really thorough when they're following up with leads is first they call the lead. Hey, I'm on board with, let's call the leads, right? But then if they don't get through right away, and by the way, almost nobody answers strange numbers right away nowadays. We all have caller ID, which used to not be a thing. Now it's every cell phone has it, right? Caller ID. And if they don't answer, if they don't see or recognize the number, oh, I'll let that go to voicemail and see who that is first, right? This is ubiquitous now. So they let it go. If you're an agent, you probably left a message. Hey, I'm so-and-so real estate agent. Now, remember back to phase 1 customers. They don't think they need an agent. They don't really want to talk to an agent. So they're probably not going to call you back from that voicemail. But then agents, again, they're just trying to be thorough, make sure they're really getting after these leads. Oh, I'm going to send them a text message and make sure they see me. And so they'll send an agent, hey, how can I help you? I saw you were replying to one of my ads, or you were interested in this property, or whatever the case may be, however you generated the lead. And then they move on and they probably send an email too, or they put them on an email drip campaign because I really got to get after these leads. Maybe if they're really thorough, they then try to call back later. Again, most of these customers are in phase 1 of the buying cycle, so they're not going to reply to the text or the voicemail or even the emails later. And in fact, as soon as you identify yourself as a real estate agent, if you tried to call again, you're probably not getting through. And so if you're a really aggressive agent, the type that really gets after your leads, you're actually shooting yourself in the foot because of the nature and the buying cycle. Now, guess who doesn't operate under that buying cycle? People who aren't buying. People who are renting. And in particular, renters, again, they're not afraid of real estate agents. So they're going to go, oh, hey, you're a real estate agent. You can help me with, do you accept Section 8 or do you have a pet policy for that house? Now, it doesn't matter how particular you were on your ad that, oh, this house is for sale, not for rent, etc. Occasionally, you're going to get some renters coming through on those ads. And if you have a 10% contact rate, guess what? You're going to talk to all renters. Okay. And again, it has nothing to do with not doing the work or not contacting your customers right. It's actually being too aggressive with the leads. So I'm going to give you 2 tweaks that will absolutely fix this renter problem. And really, it's not a renter problem. It's a contact rate problem. Okay. So here's the 2 tweaks. First tweak is we don't leave messages. We don't send texts. We don't send emails until I'm basically over the lead. And the reason is I can't identify myself as a real estate agent because they won't contact me back anyways. Okay. So no text, no voicemails, no emails. It's going to shoot you in the foot and actually reduce your contact rate. Now, if instead you just call and if they don't answer, what do? We hang up. Call again. If they don't answer, we hang up. And I don't mean call indefinitely. We use this. Here's the second tweak. We use a 5 strikes and you're out rule. So on the 5th one, that's when I'll typically leave a message. I might even send them a text message, but the lead is then done to me at that point. Now, if I do that, and I want you to think back to the last time you had a strange number calling you. If they called and then hung up and then called and then didn't leave a message and you didn't know what it was, probably the second or third time you're answering the phone. Hey, who is this? What do you need? It's going to be the same thing with these real estate consumers as well. Now, when you do get them on the phone, obviously you can't immediately go into some sort of hardcore real estate sales closing pitch. This is where you begin to add value so you can actually connect with them relationally while they're in phase 1 of the buying cycle. If you solve this contact rate problem and you start having more conversations with your leads, it doesn't magically turn the renters into buyers. The renters are still there. The 3 or 4 renters are still there, but we're going to actually start talking to the buyers and the buyers who have homes to sell among the leads. What we want and what we typically see across nationally, the agents that are following this strategy are typically have a contact rate of about 50 to 60% of your leads. So if you have a lead source and you're not getting a hold of and having actual conversations with 50 to 60% of your leads, I would urge you to implement those 2 tweaks. No calls, no voicemails, no texts, no emails, and then use the 5 strikes and you're out rule. If you can get that contact rate up, the renter problem is solved. I appreciate you sticking with me till the end. If you work to consistently add value and then solve the contact rate problem, I promise your rental problem will disappear. Now remember, I'm giving away a full 1-hour version of this training on raw lead conversion. We'll share scripts, best practices, everything you need to become a follow-up master. All you have to do is like this video, share it with a friend who could use it, and then comment shared below, and I'll send you a private link to the training. We also put out new videos like this twice a week, so make sure to subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss any. I'll see you next time.
Look, we've doubled our real estate business 3 times since 2019. If you want the full breakdown, exact scripts, step-by-step processes, and our brand new tool, drop a comment below.
No gimmicks, no paywalls. We're sending it completely free because we know it works.
Just type "send it" in the comments and we'll get it to you ASAP.
And if this was helpful, stick with us. We're dropping more strategies twice a week. Hit subscribe so you don't miss what's next.